We're talking about conspiracy theories today, obviously, that are behind the scenes. And the right is really in a bind. They really are. They're having a difficult time right now because, on the one hand, they need you to believe that someone else is pulling the strings. Biden doesn't know what's going on. He's completely lost. He can't finish a sentence. It's not a stammer. It's mental decay. He has trouble putting on his pants, even though... Wasn't it the former guy who put his pants on backwards? We'll get to that later. But Biden is a decrepit old man who, is constantly smelling burnt toast and almonds, right? But he's also a criminal mastermind who's intentionally destroying America and the world through his intentionally bad decisions where he's undermining the United States so he can turn us into a communist dictatorship, which would kind of need some sort of a keen intellect. So these ideas kind of butt heads a little bit. But this guy, Sam Faddis, he's former CIA intelligence officer, editor, and magazine. He's both an editor and a magazine. Biden is deliberately facilitating the rise of China. He's doing this on purpose. This is not an accident. He's a doddering super genius. Even as confused as he is, he can still outthink Donald Trump. I don't understand. I'm very confused.
We're going to pack it all in somehow. I want to go to Sam Faddis now. Sam was...
Speaking of packing it in.
On the ground expertise, and he knows the hook.
He does have an expertise in sitting right near his window where light is shining through his window and creating this really weird line across his forehead. But he does have something here that I think it's a black light that's making his beard glow. Is it just me, or does it look like his beard is glowing?
Network. He knows exactly what's happening. Amazing piece.
He doesn't know exactly what's happening with his window because he, in the middle of doing this interview, didn't think that the sun would be where it is, and now is going to have to move his head to not get blinded. Murph, it's okay, buddy. Cat is...
Sam and magazine, that only somebody like yourself is both a practitioner and has the understanding of geopolitics, the consequences of defeat.
Hi, Murph. I know, they're ridiculous. Really? What's happening? No. Yeah? Murph came in. He had something to say. Murph, what is it, buddy? You guys want to see him? Should I go get him real quick? Hold on. Oh, it's the kittens here. I see. Can you bring him over here so we can see Murph? He's panicking. We're fostering another kitten, and it just arrived.
Well, no, I have to go pick him up.
Oh, you're going to go pick him up? So you went to get the bag. Hi, Murph. I know, buddy. Are you okay? What's the matter? Hi, buddy.
It's like another one.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what it means when she's getting a carrier? Yeah, she's going to go get another kitten, and she's going to bring him here. Yes, he is. Why? Here you go. Hold on. Calm yourself. You're okay, buddy. You're going to be all right. It's just a kitten. He's only here for a couple days. He just needs somebody to foster him till he gets the rest of his shots, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets the rest of his shots on the 14th. He's a what? Oh, he's 1 or 2 weeks old? Aw. Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I have the headphones in. I'm doing a show.
He should be ready in 1 or 2 weeks.
I agree. He should be ready in 1 or 2 weeks. Murph, it's okay, buddy. I know you're okay. I know. You want to get down? She's going to go take the case. You want to go say bye? Okay. He'll be back. He's miserable. Murph, it's okay, buddy. You're going to be all right, Murph. Murphy. It's like, I saw it. She left with the cat carrier. She's going to bring somebody back. Son of a... Miserable. He's a great cat. Hal sneezing in 543. No, he doesn't make me sneeze. That was from something else. I don't know what that was. It was just tickle nose when I sneezed earlier. Is that Forster Brooks? Yes, that's Foster Brooks. It totally does look like him. That's hilarious. But again, Look how the light from this asshole's window is right between his eyes. Like, understand that while this guy's going to give you his strategic viewpoint on stuff. Think about this. Factor this in. Steve Bannon has brought this guy on because of his strategic mind. And this dickhead sat down to do this interview in front of his computer with the window to the back going, I'll get some window light on me and that'll do it. And then he had to pull the drapes, and now there's a crack in the drapes hitting him right in the forehead.
That Americans don't like to embrace, Sam, defeat. But you kind of lay it out, and you
Look
talk.
at him. He's trying to dodge it. Yeah, Sam, they don't like to. These folks don't like to admit defeat. Play some murder mystery music. He does look like a villain character on Matlock.
Consequences.
Yes, Murph saw the cat carrier. He hates the cat carrier because it always brings back a kitten. Welcome back, Beth.
Of course, the photo you've got in your piece, if we can put that up, is the.
You won't be able to see it. The sun is shining directly into his eyes, Steve. I'm never going to get over this. This is just fucking dumb.
And there, with the Chinese foreign minister. I want to say, as we're doing this, the lead story in the Daily Mail just came down, but the lead story all afternoon was the Secretary of State of the United States going over and getting red carpet treatment to thank, doing a fist bump, and to thank the Qatari government, who are the worst in the Gulf, which you got a lot of bad actors. These are the worst of the worst. The
Qatari government are the worst of the worst. Hold on. Mm-hmm. U.S. President Donald Trump meets with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, in the Oval Office. In the White House, April 10th. They're both doing the, and if you'll notice, they're both doing the Illuminati hand symbol to show that they're both on the team with the Satan worshipers. Well, I mean, that hand position was evil when Obama did it, but as soon as Trump gets in, it's just, your hands rest. So far, the effects of U.S. President Donald Trump's unpredictability in the Middle East have been relatively contained, but that may be changing. His administration's recent flip-flop on Qatar, which is in the middle of a face-off with the United States' main Arab allies, has increased the chances of conflict in the Middle East. What flip-flop, you're asking? Well, let's go to the New York to foreign policy. President Trump's flip-flop on Qatar may be due to U.S. airbase. President Trump reversed course on his handling of Qatar, an about-face that may have been influenced by the presence of U.S. troops in the country. Trump spoke with Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. That's just rude. Sheikh Al Thani. Can we just do that of Qatar Wednesday as opposed to all the other emirs? Jesus. No pun intended. Offering to play a peacemaker in the role in the Middle East, according to readout of the call released by the White House press. Oh, yeah, they had a private call. The president emphasized the importance of all countries in the region working together to prevent financing of terrorist organizations, stop the promotion of extremist ideology, the White House wrote. One day earlier, Trump publicly endorsed Bahrain, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen, cutting diplomatic relations with Qatar, alleging that it funds terrorism. The move so close to its borders, the move to close its borders to suspend air and sea travel to Qatar aims to punish the tiny nation by isolating it economically and politically. But Qatar is also home to the Al Udeid, yeah, airbase, which hosts more than 10,000 American servicemen. Airbase is the main regional center for air missions against ISIS. Area is meeting with, of course, some Qatari individuals on Halloween as part of his satanic ritual. So they're the worst. So Trump, when was this? When did he reverse course? He reversed course. This is, at least it wasn't early on in his presidency, say around June 8th, 2017. You would think he had 3 years with Qatar and was like, all right, maybe I've learned to like you guys after all this. Friggin' June 8th, he flip-flops on Qatar. Runs on, we got the Qatar, horrifying. Cozying up to Iran, terrible people, awful, violent, not as a June 8th, the year he becomes president. Actually, Qatar's got some good points there and remain that way for the rest of his presidency. But please, Steve Bannon, go ahead and tell us how the Qatari government is the worst.
Double dealers in the world, Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, Hezbollah, it's all there, right?
It's all there. It's all there. So, obviously, Trump knew this. The United States has leverage needed to prevent Qatar from cozying up to Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood if it's willing to use it. Well, apparently not, because this was, when was this? August 15th, 2018. Even a whole year, of this. And then they ended up meeting together. They brought him over. And obviously did a little photo op with the head guy from Qatar, the emir. That's it, But the worst, cozying up. The worst. We've got a base over there. We sent the Secretary of State. It's not shaking hands with them. They're just touching fists, right? Like the back of their hand, because they're not shaking. No pun intended to the sheikh, who's actually there. He's got to feel left out of it. Hey guys, can I fist you too? Anyways, so there's a big difference between Blinken going over there, meeting with them, State Department, we've got a base there, and Trump giving them an Oval Office meeting. But hey, at least, it took him a few years to realize the strategic value of it, and he didn't just reverse course in the first year of his presidency and continue to believe that through the rest of his presidency. But yeah, anyways. So we got 10,000 troops there and a bunch of refugees in Qatar, and yeah.
Sam Faddis, first off, Tony Blinken kowtowing to Qatar.
Well, he's not actually, he's kowtowing to Qatar. I mean, they are, we do have a military base there. They do allow us to stay there, and we use it to vet a lot of the Afghans that are going to come here rather than bring them directly to the United States. Let's see, Trump, I just want it for, when you're talking about kowtowing, are we talking about kind of like this kind of behavior, like that? Like how much are we calling this? Define kowtowing. The little curtsy afterwards. This part, is that kind of, because obviously Blinken's not doing that. So there's a different, this little, Blinken didn't do a sword dance with him, did he? With Wilbur Ross and Rex Tillerson dancing with the sword in the middle. He didn't do that. He just went over there, had a meeting with him where we have a base, and didn't shake hands with him. Just did a fist bump, back of his hand. Obviously not. Define kowtowing as you see it. It would be the question. Let's see. Let's try to, or maybe the Globe situation where they had a. Let's get this. They're going to run an ad on it. I just know it. By the way, I'm enjoying Only Murders in the Building, although because Steve created it, it's pretty miserable right out of the gate. There's a lot of emotional misery that he's weaving in there because Steve wants you to know he has a broken heart. Poor guy. We love him. We love you, Steve. Yeah, there we go. It's business. There you go. Just, what was that? Sorry, run that by me again. There's my thing. Thank you. It's nice. Give me that thing. I can't read. Can you read it to me? What does that say? It says, we own you. Just put your palm right here. Do we still want a president who bows to the Saudis and lets OPEC rip us off? Make America strong. Vote for Mitt Romney. There we go. Canley makes me want to puke. Jared's, oh, there's Roger Stone not liking it. That's adorable. All right. So, anyways, kowtowing, they're the worst. There you go.
About their quote unquote help in this situation. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, it's not quote unquote. They actually are. There's no air quotes to it. They actually are helping. We do have a base there. We're using it to vet a lot of the Afghans that may or may not be coming here, going to other countries before we go there. They are helping.
Yeah, well, it's disgusting, but it's par for the course for this group, right? I mean, we are no longer a leading power.
Jesus Christ, man. Don't talk to me about your strategic know-how when you don't even know how to sit in your fucking living room without the sun blasting you right on the bridge of your nose. Like, the sun is literally in his eyes. He's literally just like, fuck, how do I dodge this thing during this interview? This asshole wants us to think he is a strategic mastermind and knows all the inner workings of stuff. Asshole can't sit across from a window.
World, we're going around doing business with the Taliban, fist bumping with the Qataris, turning Afghanistan over to China. What we're watching is us destroying American prestige and power all over the globe.
Yes, it was so prestigious to get bogged down for 20 years in Afghanistan. There's such a prestige. I mean, it's really, it's sort of a red carpet to spend $140 to $300 million a fucking day for 20 years on a country that you have no intention to take over. But sorry, I don't know if I'm making sense right now that I'm being blasted in the eyes with light from a giant orb, millions and millions and millions and millions of miles away that it didn't occur to me shines through that window at this time every day till I was.
So Sam, the Biden in this group he has with him of General Austin, and you got Blinken and Jake Sullivan so the American.
Yeah. Do any of them have a watch or a hand mirror? And do they sit across from your house, shining a light into your forehead to try and irritate you? You ever had anybody do that to you, where they're just like looking at their watch and the light just bounces right off, and you're like, "Ah, you dick." Has that ever happened to you? No.
We're not allowed to do due diligence. Was this something that
we're not allowed to do due diligence? Trump met with the head of the Taliban after getting him out of jail. Do you think he did due diligence on this asshole before he got him out of a Pakistani jail? Did Trump do his due diligence on the 5,000 Taliban guys that he got let out of jail? 5,000. 5,000.
plan to do? Is this just because they're so hapless? I mean, put it in the strategic context. How did we act?
Yeah, like strategically, let's say you're on one side of an argument, and on the other side of the argument is the fucking sun. I can't. I'm sorry. This is so stupid. Tell us, give us the contrasting viewpoint. By contrast, I mean high contrast. It's just light bouncing off his coat mirror. His kids are fucking with him off screen. Kids, get out of here. It's not us. It's the dog's tag.
They get here. We understand they're totally incompetent about imposing their will on anything and getting stuff done.
Yeah, but at least they know lighting. Secondly, you got one dude who's sitting across from a fucking window going blind as he talks randomly about other people's strategic ability, talking to a dude who never bathes, whose his whole studio is in front of an unused fireplace.
But what was the strategic rationale of what they have done to get us into this situation where the CCP is the rising nation right now?
The CCP is not the rising nation right now. First of all, the Chinese Communist Party is not the nation of China, and China is not on the rise right now. China is in deep shit. And by the way, Steve Bannon knows this. China is do we want to go through just the weather in China right now? Or do we want to go through, let's see, like how the world views them because of both the Uyghur camps, Hong Kong crackdowns, their financial stuff. They're shutting down. China just had to shut down like 1,500 K-pop fan accounts because They were causing political turmoil in the country. A country of allegedly 1.2 billion people has to shut down 1,500 K-pop accounts because they might upend the goddamn government.
Well, look, I think you've asked the critical question, right? When we were listening to Sean Parnell, who, by the way, I fully support. We're talking a lot
Well, you have to, otherwise he'll give you a sunburn on your left eyeball.
about incompetence. Maybe that's what you're seeing. Maybe that's not what you're seeing at all, because frankly, it makes a whole lot more sense if you look at everything that is going on and you understand who's doing it.
Jesus Christ, this dude is having a hard time forming thoughts. As somebody who deals with technical stuff on my show all the time that I'm fixing while talking or interviewing or, doing radio and the like, I know what it's like when you're vamping while you're dealing with some other aspect. Usually with me, it's audio or some sort of persnickety video thing before we solved that issue. This asshole is just trying to figure out how to talk without saying, you know what, Steve, give me 1 second. I need to go shut this goddamn window.
That this is all deliberate and it's intended to facilitate the rise of China.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to hand off Afghanistan to China so that they can really come into their own.
Joe Biden himself has taken huge quantities of money via his son Hunter from the communist Chinese. Everybody.
Well, no, they invested it on their behalf. That's what Rosemont Seneca did. They didn't keep it. And what they did keep was 10% of any profits made, like any other investment scheme. By the way, are all American movie studios now suspect? Is every manufacturing group in the world now suspect because they were in league with the Communist Party?
This cabinet basically was bought and paid for by the Chinese a long time ago. They have not just destroyed our prestige in Afghanistan. They have.
Yes, all of our prestige in Afghanistan is gone. Guys, we lost our prestige in Afghanistan. That's what I was worried about. I know you were worried about it. Our prestige is gone in Afghanistan.
It over to the Chinese. The Chinese embassy is open. There are Chinese technicians working with the Taliban to hunt down opponents of the regime.
Good luck with that. By the way, what are you reading from right now? You checking an article? What do you think? New York Post, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, New York Times? Or are you just trying to look anywhere but the light shining directly in your face?
Chinese are talking to the Taliban about taking over Bagram Air Base.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Chinese are talking to the Taliban about lithium deposits in Afghanistan, which maybe seems not particularly relevant, except Joe Biden has decreed that 50% of the vehicles in the United States by, I think it's 2030, will be electric. And with current technology, that means they will run on lithium batteries.
Bullshit. We're not going to use current technology in 2030. Nobody thinks that. Everybody's looking for an alternative to lithium. And like MIT, Tesla, everybody's steering away from lithium-based lithium-ion batteries. Like, for Christ's sake. That's why we don't care. If we needed that lithium, you're goddamn right that we'd have some sort of like base down in the south of there going ours. No, we don't need it. Nobody does. Except for the Chinese who are using this backwards technology.
Lithium. Most of it comes from South America right now, and the Chinese already control those mines largely. And now we've turned over.
Okay, let's just remember, let me back up. What did he just say? What did this dude just say?
In batteries. We don't produce lithium. Most of it comes from South America right now, and the Chinese already control those mines largely. And
the Chinese largely, control those mines largely. Let's see. see, made investments in oil and gas project. There we go. Okay, that's here we go. China is expanding its presence in Latin America's energy and strategic minerals industries. That's basically what he's talking about. This is February 10th, 2021. China is broadening its presence in Latin America's energy and strategic mineral sectors, posing challenges to the regional countries themselves, as well as the United States, according to a new white paper published by the Institute of the Americas, IOA, an independent, nonpartisan organization based in La Jolla, California, that focuses on inter-American affairs. In recent years, the Asian superpower has sharply increased its takeovers of major products in electric power transmission and distribution, renewable energy, and lithium, even as its other investments in the energy sector have declined. For example, in 2020, Chinese M&A deals in Latin American energy sector surged. Did you bring him? Is he back? You're going now? Okay. Latin American energy sector surged, reaching 7.7 billion, or a quarter of all Chinese acquisitions worldwide. The study said between 2000 and 2019, China made investments and loans of more than 58 billion in regional energy sectors, with most going to oil and natural gas projects, followed by renewable energy. They're phasing out the other stuff and going into there. There you go. A new IOA report. China stakes its claim in Latin American energy, what it means for the region, the U.S., and Beijing. Let's see if we can find, because I was looking up China, Russia's, yeah, here you go. Here's the Diplomat. This is 2019. Russia's to dominate the global supply of lithium. Beijing's race to control supplies of lithium used in powering electric cars is leaving its rivals far behind. China is increasingly dominating the supply of what's been described as white petroleum, the soft, silvery metal lithium, seen as a key to momentum-gathering electric vehicle revolution. Discoveries of lithium in North America and Europe may loosen China's tightening hold on the market in time, but the race to find and exploit new deposits is also throwing up other concerns. We've got tons of lithium. Canada has a shit ton of lithium. It's everywhere. Lithium is one of the main components of rechargeable lithium-ion batteries used in smartphones, laptops, EVs, with demands for all, which, I mean, they were manufacturing it, so they need a shit ton of it. China, eager to reduce oil imports and address chronic air pollution, is driving production of EVs, accounting for 37% of passenger EVs sold globally since 2011. Beijing's government subsidies and quotas for EV sales appear to have incentivized efforts to corner the electric vehicle supply chain. Reuters reports that Chinese entities now control nearly half of global lithium production and 60% of the electric battery production by capacity. Battery production capacity. It's the production of them, not necessarily the sales or design. By 2030, Goldman Sachs predicts China could supply 60% of the world's EVs. This is 2019. This is no longer the case. In 2019, this was true. In 2021, nope. But, I mean, let's listen to this strategic billionaire.
We've turned over what could be the largest lithium deposits on the planet to the Chinese.
The largest lithium deposits on the planet could also be in British Columbia. Should we invade Canada? Don't answer that, chat room. Simmer.
So as we're being ordered to buy vehicles that will be completely dependent on lithium batteries, we just handed the Chinese a complete stranglehold on that technology, so they can shut down our economy anytime they want. I mean, we could go on.
Well, except for this. Except for this. April 30th, 2021. What you need to know about solid-state batteries. This next jump in battery tech could solve a lot of EV problems. The world of internal combustion engine may sadly but very necessarily come to a close at some point in our lifetimes. Hybrids and electric vehicles are becoming more affordable and more advanced at a rapid pace, which means batteries are taking the place of fossil fuels, which has led to an equally rapid progression in battery technology with the main goals of improving capacity, charging times, and safety. One major advancement in the field is the advent of solid-state batteries, which promise to push the boundaries of limitations that current lithium-ion batteries carry. What are lithium-ion batteries? This is electric vehicles. This is how they work. There you go. Just like how solid-state batteries are different. Solid-state batteries, as the name suggests, do away with heavy liquid electrolyte that lives inside lithium-ion batteries. The replacement is a solid electrolyte, which can come in the form of glass, ceramics, or other materials. The overall structure of a solid-state battery is quite similar to that of traditional lithium-ion batteries otherwise, but without the need for a liquid. The batteries can be much denser and compact. Without diving too deeply into their inner workings, solid-state batteries expend energy and recharge much in the same way traditional lithium-ion units do. Solid-state batteries aren't a new thing, but their use in such a heavy-duty application such as automobiles is. They've been in use for years in small devices like pacemakers, wearables, and RFID. This is how they're going to chip us all. By 2030, this will be the dominant technology. This is where we're headed. There will be a transition from, lithium-ion batteries to lithium-guided solid state to solid state. Yes, lithium-ion batteries catch on fire. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to abandon that technology. And there's plenty of lithium in the world. Plenty. This is idiotic. But, again, if we needed it, we'd have stayed. So stupid.
Wrong with this list. Frankly, it makes a lot more sense if you contemplate this is not just incompetence, it's being done deliberately.
Yes, he's not a doddering old fool. He's doing this on purpose. It's almost like he's letting the Chinese move into Afghanistan and go searching for an element that we have plenty of, and we're not going to fight over, for a technology we're not going to use in 10 years anyways, and let them dick around in the fucking sand with the Afghans for a decade. And
you spent a lot of years or a lot of time in that neighborhood. Pakistan, the Pashtuns. Are we in a situation right now we've allowed the CCP to unite Pakistan, the terrorist superstate of Afghanistan, Iran and the mullahs, Russia, and
they're going to hook them up with the Uyghurs, Steve. That's the whole plan. China has this, they're playing fifth level chess. They figured it out. They want to partner up in business with Taliban, ISIS-K, Al-Qaeda, Iran, the Pashtuns in Pakistan, and their partners in the Uyghur Muslims that they have been putting in concentration camps. And it's well known everywhere that that's what they've been doing. And and you got to understand, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they're very forgiving when it comes to scooping up entire groups of Muslims and putting them in concentration re-education camps. They're, especially when you kill 250,000 of them over time for sedition and trying to overturn the government because they've been in contact with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and groups like that, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm sure the Uyghur Muslims don't know anybody in that region, and no one in that region knows of what the Chinese have been doing with the Uyghur Muslims. They don't even read the same newspapers. You know what I'm saying?
Turkey for Erdogan for good measure. I've been calling this for years now. The consolidation on the Eurasian landmass. Has Joe Biden exacerbated that?
Yeah. He's going to consolidate the Uyghurs, the Pashtuns, the 12 tribes in Afghanistan, the Eastern Iranian nomadic tribes and ISIS and fix them together so that the Chinese can work with one cohesive group. Shit.
Yeah, well, look, the Taliban announced, I think earlier today, that they're finally forming a government, right? And make it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. That the Taliban government is going to be tight. Look out, Iran. There's a new kid in town.
Look online and look at the list of people who will be attending. That is the nations that will be attending this ceremony.
Yeah, it doesn't look at all like ticks gathering around a cut.
It's the Chinese, it's the Iranians, it's the Russians. It's everybody that you just ticked off. Those are all the nations that will be standing in Kabul and that are now the new allies of the Taliban. So
Good luck with that. Yeah, have fun. Yeah, we were the allies of the Taliban last year. Trump worked that out. The nation of Talibania. Yeah, it's the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan is what they're calling it, because they want to be like the UAE. They're trying to be. They picked a name that makes them sound like they're on the same level as the Saudis. I'm sure it'll work out, guys. I'm sure, unlike before, Afghanistan will be a stable and united group of tribes that will manage a real bridge between Iran and Pakistan and Uzbekistan and China. And I mean, come on.
people think, at worst, we're going back to where we were 20 years ago. That's not at all true. What we have now is infinitely worse than where we were 20 years ago. A much more powerful Taliban linked up with nations that are all hostile to the United States. This is a disaster, a true geopolitical disaster.
Yeah. And understand that if anybody understands strategery, it's the dude who doesn't know to move his chair and his computer a foot to the right. It didn't occur to you to maybe like, this asshole wants to think that he's the guy you call on to talk about geopolitical strategy, and he can't even solve a problem he can use by scooching his chair. Fucking hell. Yeah, the Taliban are allies with nobody. They're not even allies amongst themselves.
Sure, if there has ever been in American history a moment like this, where there has been a foreign policy, national security disaster of this magnitude.
Oh, you mean like working? You wouldn't count like making a deal with the Chinese for trade during a pandemic that you believe is caused by them, and ultimately trading, only finishing one deal of a three-phase deal and only getting a third of the money that was in that first deal in exchange for 600,000 dead Americans. That didn't come up as part of the. That it wouldn't occur to you as some sort of theoretically speaking? No? Psst, scooch.
Also, can you give us your assessment of the Qataris? They are known that the location was at Doha is known as a open market for Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, Hezbollah.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, I don't know why, anybody would not recognize that, Steve Bannon, especially if they were hanging around with you for years. Why would that be, Steve Bannon? Why would this be something that? How would it? Steve, can you guys do me a favor? Is it too much to ask? I don't want to get bored. I'm a very bright fellow. You're gonna have to try harder. We have a base with 10,000 soldiers on it in Qatar. That ship has sailed. Qatari 2600 asteroids was great, but Pac-Man not so much. I agree. Absolutely.
They're the paymasters. This is how the money gets transferred and laundered through. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, the Qataris are not honest brokers in this. They're
weird. They're not. Yeah. So we should run our people out of there immediately, move them someplace else.
I mean, there's a reason why the Saudis and all of the other Gulf states hate them and ostracize them, and quite frankly, wish they would just go away. By the way,
you mean because we have a base there? That wouldn't be one of the reasons. It sure as shit was one of the reasons why the Osama crowd didn't like us very much.
Just throw this into the mix. Right before we went on air, was talking to a conduit to sources in Afghanistan.
A conduit to sources in Afghanistan. So you're playing pinball or a game of telephone with somebody in Afghanistan. who knows somebody, who's got a guy on the inside who's always talking to a fellow that's part of a group that has these friends who are next door to, right?
They say that the sources that I'm talking to via that avenue in Afghanistan say we're looking at a minimum of 500 Americans, potentially as many as 1,000 American citizens still trapped in the country. So the Biden.
Yeah, they're not trapped. They had an opportunity to leave. They didn't leave. A lot of them are dual citizens. We're also getting them out through other ways. But point them out, man. Why don't you send like more? Why don't more Republican Congress people fly over to Afghanistan and go? They're right there in that building. We could get them out right now. They're on the 3rd floor in the 2nd apartment. If you just go straight up the stairs, I mean, the apartment's got really cheeseball locks. I mean, you could just knock them, kick the door in, bonk them on the head, shoot everybody. No one would even know. So we got to go in there immediately. Where are they again? They're in that building, 3rd floor. Yeah, it's a father and 2 kids and his wife. And then they've got a brother who's staying on the couch with them. It's basically, I mean, they're all in the apartment. They're there right now. Like, if you wanted to, you could just go in there and kill them. I don't know why the Biden administration isn't announcing to the world precisely where they are, how many of them there are, and what route they're taking out of the city.
Administration's figure of 100 is not surprisingly a complete fabrication. It's a lie.
I don't know that they said 100, did they? Is that new?
Practitioners of.
Or are they just talking about one building? By the way, let's see. How many Americans still in Afghanistan? I'm checking in with one of my conduits. How many American and allies? Let's see. Yeah, so Biden, August 31st. Now we believe there are about 100 to 200 Americans remain in Afghanistan with some intention to leave. Most of those who remain are dual citizens, longtime residents who had earlier decided to stay because of their family roots in Afghanistan. These aren't people who are trapped. And this is what he's referencing. Hold on one second. This is Axios reporting on it. White House. About 100 Americans still in Afghanistan. About 100 Americans are still in Afghanistan following the August 31st full troop withdrawal from the country. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said on CNN's State of the Union on Sundays. What he's saying, we're hopeful that in the coming days, the Qataris will be able to resume air service out of Kabul. If they do, we're obviously going to look and see if Americans can be part of those flights. We're going to find ways to get them out of Afghanistan, he added. Klain said the U.S. officials were in close communication with contacts in Afghanistan to try and safely evacuate special immigrant visa holders and other Afghan allies, following reports that many of these people had been left behind following U.S. airlift from Kabul. I know some are coming out by land. We're continuing to work on efforts to get them out by air as well. We're going to continue to move those SIVs out of the country. Klain said the U.S. had, quote, launched a historic airlift that brought 124,000 people out of Afghanistan, including U.S. and Afghan citizens. We're ultimately going to resettle them in Europe and the United States, and that's a big part of rescuing that SIV population. But, this is the old Trump method. If they say it's 100, go, it's probably 1,000. It's probably more than that. It's probably 10 times what I said they said it was.
Political persuasion, because I know in the agency and other people you've dealt with have a broad range of political beliefs. But the same question I asked Sean Parnell. The community, as you know them, and a lot of those guys are active over there now trying to get...
Did this asshole just shuffle to make his eyes more in the light? Did you just see that? I was like, I was about to say that, the sun's kind of going down, and so he's going to be able to avoid it. It'll hit him on the cheeks or whatever. And then he just kind of settled into it. Maybe he likes it.
People that work with
See
him.
what I mean?
What's
nope,
the general
I take it back. He just tried to dodge it again.
assessment of how this has been handled, and particularly the veracity now?
Yes, Dinner Theater Sean Connery is talking to old used bar of soap found in shower of burned out building.
Biden administration.
Rage, white hot rage, way past disbelief, way past disgust.
Yeah, he's so mad his eyes are glowing. That isn't even the sun.
Just fury.
That's one of his friends. They're so mad.
I mean, we're talking about an administration, whether this is grotesque negligence or whether it's treason. We're talking about an administration that has mishandled something in a way no administration on earth ever did. I mean, look,
Well, and for the record, to mishandle something, you actually do have to handle it. And so, like the last guy who was in office, he had every opportunity to handle it, and because he realized everyone would look at how it was handled and say it was mishandled because everybody would second guess it. He just avoided handling it at all. So it's easy to leave it up to somebody else and go white hot rage because somebody finally did something about it.
Thomas Jefferson.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, watch the show, blah, blah, blah. Hi.
1903, when the Barbary pirates were seizing our citizens, and we hardly had a Navy and a Marine Corps, and we had barely survived the revolution. When they started demanding tribute and holding our citizens hostage, Thomas Jefferson sent the United States Marine.
Thomas, if you're not familiar, Thomas Jefferson was a Native American leader. He pronounced it slightly differently, but Thomas Jefferson, very well known, and wore his hair exactly like I wear mine, right? You know, but lower. His ponytail was down here.
The Navy to explain to them at the point of a sword, we don't deal with terrorists and we don't abandon. Mm-hmm. All right. Now look, we're the
I mean, who deals with terrorists? You know what I mean? Like how do you even? It's just terrible. Can you imagine if Trump had made a deal with the Taliban? You know what I mean? Like, holy smokes! Like, let's see. I mean, who even bothers to do this? Who deals with terrorists like the Taliban? Now, I mean, that's just gross negligence. That's traitorous.
Superpower on earth, and look what we're doing now.
Oh, thank you for becoming a Patreon supporter. Thank you very much. And thanks, Robert, for the super chat, by the way. And thanks to Girls Rock Player and Kelly and Artsy Lynn for the bits as well. Thank you so much. And Girls Rock Player, thank you for gifting the subs. That's really awesome. And Moms, thank you so much for both the super chats. And bless you for your ongoing Venmos when you do them. I appreciate that. If I've ever missed one, I apologize not bringing it up. Thank you.
I mean, basically Jefferson and Adams, those guys told them, hey, we'll pay millions or billions, or, you know, whatever the number is in the modern dollars for defense. We will not pay 1 cent for tribute, not 1 cent for tribute. That's the United States. We will not pay 1 cent for.
Well, how about, will we negotiate the release of 5,000 enemy combatants in exchange for them not shooting us as we leave?
And look where we are today. By the way, you put treason on the table.
Where are we today? Oh, we're staring into the sun.
Back to you later in the week and talk about that in the run up to 9/11. And I want everybody to understand, Sam Faddis wrote a book years ago, I think, Decline and Fall of the CIA, very perceptive book. Sam Faddis spent many years of his life.
Yes, years ago, he knew he would be sitting in a space where he would be nearly blinded during one interview with Steve Bannon.
In the defense of his country. And I'm going to get Jay Kansar in a second.
Sorry, unlike every other CIA agent and officer, fuck you.
This is so far worse than 20 years ago. It's not to be imagined. Of all.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to be able to fly into these helicopters into buildings that don't exist anymore, or if you've just forgotten what 9/11 was like. But please, I mean, this is, and by the way, understand this is the reaction to us getting out of Afghanistan. This is not their reaction to Biden handling it. This is not their reaction to Biden mishandling it. This is the giving up the base, Bagram Air Force Base, not staying forever is the crime here. Not the fact that we lost 13 soldiers that were blown up when a suicide bomber attacked the airport, not the decision to use the local airport versus take everybody on a car ride of death out to Bagram, but the fact that we didn't keep Bagram there as a secret base forever, repelling Taliban and ISIS-K and having soldiers die in 107-degree heat in the middle of the night forever. Because that's what they're complaining about. Don't for a second think this is about the how and the arrangement and, you know, whether or not it was a qualified drawdown or any of that shit. Neither of these assholes think we should leave. I should have ever left. Now, they pretended to when Trump said he was going to, but only because they knew he wasn't.
Convergence of everything we've allowed to happen, all the elites of both parties, in Wall Street, in the city of...
So by elites, you're definitely not talking about Trump, right? The dude with the fucking Elvis sense of like gold toiletry and 3 trophy wives in, daughter fondler, couldn't think his way out of a wet paper bag. He doesn't qualify as an elite.
In the
Wharton went to Wharton.
Davos, in the social media oligarchs. What has happened and what's happened?
Yes, these social media oligarchs. By the way, in case you're wondering, when a lot of them say big tech giants or woke big tech, blah, 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 they're complaining about content. What Steve Bannon is complaining about with the big tech oligarchs is the idea that they control the purse strings, and he can't make money on YouTube, which he used to make a shit ton of money over there. And so they're now oligarchs because they're magically getting that money that he's not getting. Not, you know, those of us that put out quality programming on YouTube now. There.
On the Eurasian landmass in that part of the world is 100 times worse than on September 10th of 2011. 100 times worse.
Well, I mean, Osama bin Laden is dead. And they are fighting amongst themselves. And they're actually accepting some of the women into governmental and teaching positions because they want some of that sweet, sweet international aid money.
Started the Third World War. Mark my words. The Third World War started. Okay? The economic piece, the cyber piece, the kinetic piece is coming at you, and it's going to come up there in the Kashmir province around in India to the west flank, and the east is going to be the South China Sea in the Taiwan. By the way, General Motors announced on Friday shutting down all production in the United States. Why? No chips. Sam Faddis, and Magazine. Sam, what's your social media? People got to start following you nonstop.
Yeah, there's a supply chain bottleneck because of COVID. There's been a chip shortage everywhere. Germany's shutting down car manufacturing as well.
Social media handles.
At Sam Faddis. Look, I'm on Twitter until they throw me off. I'm on Getter, Parler, Gab. We're everywhere. Go to...
Yeah, nobody cares, dude. Sorry, Sam. I mean, if I want, a lesson in poorly refracted light, then maybe we'll talk.
Magazine.com,
and that'll link you to every place.
Okay, we got to put Ann Magazine.
Is it shitmagazine.com? All right, just clarify.
As we always do, it's fabulous.
That's your fetish site, right? Look at him closing his eyes like fucking sunlight, son of a bitch.
And thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, man.